Good evening, my name is Katarzyna Nowicka and welcome to Poland Daily News. The Ministry of National Education has prepared regulations concerning education during the period of the epidemic. Starting September 1st, pupils will return to traditional school education. However, if the epidemic threat increases in a given area, the headmaster of the institution will have the opportunity to implement remote teaching. Most schools are scheduled to operate in a traditional way. Among the guidelines published by the Ministry of National Education to ensure the safety of students are, among others, cleaning schools, maintaining hygiene, and ventilating classrooms. On the other hand, in districts with a high number of infections, headmasters will be able to introduce a special learning mode. In such a case, the educational authorities will be able to decide on the implementation of remote teaching or the suspension of classes, which will affect some or all students. The decision to change the way of teaching in a given school will have to be made in agreement with the district sanitary inspector. The riots in Belarus continue. For the third night in a row, demonstrators took to the streets of Minsk to protest against the results of Sunday's presidential elections. Once again, there were clashes with the militia, which resulted in the detention of several hundred people. 3 Polish citizens are reportedly among the detainees. Demonstrations in Belarus continue after the presidential election was won by Alexander Lukashenko on Sunday. The security forces used smooth-barrel one-type weapons and stun grenades against the protesters. Today, a woman's protest against police brutality has passed through the streets of Minsk.
We oppose violence, we oppose beating people, we oppose the conditions in which our children live. We want a bright future for them.
The departure of Lukashenko's candidate in the elections, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, to Lithuania added fuel to the fire. The media have speculated that former presidential candidate has been forced to leave the country, but Tikhanovskaya has posted a film on social media in which she denied these reports.
I thought this whole campaign has hardened me and gave me so much strength that I could stand anything. But maybe I'm still the weak woman I was in the beginning. I made a difficult decision, completely independent of my friends and family or the campaign stuff. I know that many people will not understand this decision. Many will blame me and hate me. As it turns out, she apparently gave in to some pressure and had no choice but to leave the country. She had a Lithuanian visa, which means that she can stay in Lithuania for a year without any restrictions. It was her own choice. The representatives of the government did not prevent her from doing so, nor did they make it easier for her.
One of the 3 protest leaders in Belarus, Maria Kolesnikova, referred to the situation, assuring that Tikhanovskaya was in a safe place. She added, however, that when the woman wanted to lodge an election protest, several officers were waiting for her at the headquarters of the Central Electoral Commission and forced her to testify.
Svetlana spent 3 hours with 2 high-ranking security officers. My colleagues and I were waiting at the entrance throughout that period. We saw people entering there carrying something that resembled video equipment. At that time, no one could contact her, not even her lawyer.
During the demonstrations that have been going on since the results of the elections in Belarus were reported, 2 Polish students have gone missing. This information was confirmed by the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, informing today about another 3rd missing person. The mother of one of the detainees calls for help in this case.
My son Kacper Sianicki, together with his colleague Witek Dobrowolski, were detained by the police in Minsk. Since yesterday, I haven't had any contact with him. Our Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Polish embassy in Minsk are not able to help me either. I don't know where he was taken away, and I don't know what to do. I'm crying and begging you to share this post. Kacper graduated from Eastern European Studies, hence his interest in Belarus. He went there to support the spirit of his Belarusian friends. I hope he's okay and he'll get back to me soon.
According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the department is in constant contact with the families of people detained in Belarus. A plaque commemorating the participation of members of the Technicians Association in the 1920 Volunteer Army was unveiled today in Warsaw. Thanks to the mass mobilization of the members of the association as well as the inhabitants of the capital, it was possible to create an army of more than 100,000 soldiers. The ceremony was organized as part of the celebrations of the 100th anniversary of the Battle of Warsaw.
W roku 1920
In 1920, the revived Polish state was in great danger. The Bolshevik army was attacking us from the east. They wanted to take over our land and destroy the Western civilization. Poland's sovereignty was in danger. The society was afraid of losing our regained independence. Volunteers, young and old men, representatives of all kinds of society ranks and professions, as well as the inhabitants of the capital and other regions of Poland, joined the volunteer army. Women decided to join as well. Hundreds of volunteers, full of enthusiasm and will to fight, reported to the draft stations. They believed in our victory. They were aware of the great danger and the price to be paid. Stanisław Gawłowski was appointed to the position of head of the Senate Climate Committee. However, this decision must be approved by the majority of the Senate during the next plenary session. Senators of the Law and Justice Party are against Gawłowski's candidacy.
Senators of the Law and Justice Party are against Gawłowski's candidacy for the position of head of the Senate Climate Committee due to his past. They reminded the public that Gawłowski was charged with corruption several times. According to the prosecutor's office, the businessman from Kołobrzeg was to bribe Gawłowski, pay him 100,000 zloty, and pass a property in Croatia. In return, Gawłowski, the Minister of the Environment during the term of office of the civic platform Polish People's Party, was to provide him with assistance and contacts with the office organizing auctions.
That's all for tonight. Now on to Poland Daily Business with Aleksander Wierzejski and his guest. Good night.